Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be diving into a unique sketchbook tour. I'll be revealing all the art materials I used on every page of this sketchbook, from coloured pencils to brush pens and neo-colours. You also get a sneak peek into my on-location sketching kit. Trust me, you don't need to pack lots of art supplies when going on location. Many artists worry about not having the perfect pen or colour, but what's more important is creating art with whatever you have. Sometimes using fewer tools can make you more creative. Trust yourself and enjoy making art with what's available. The magic comes from your creativity, not just the tools you use. I'm Ohn Mar, I'm an artist, illustrator and author, and I help artists improve their skills by sharing my knowledge from filling 50 sketchbooks. This is sketchbook 53. It's a Hahnemuhle watercolour sketchbook, A5 size, and I started it on May the 3rd, 2024. I had already created the textured backgrounds. I do have a YouTube video on that, which I will link. And this lilac colour is actually this ProArte alcohol marker. If I show you this chisel tip, which I really love doing. I'll just quickly show you a line. It does that sort of mark, which I really appreciate because it covers the area quickly. And the pencil line is the Holbein grape colour, and I really love using dark neutrals rather than brights. Just did that extra bit of line in his arm. And a few of the other things that I've used would have been a Posca in this area here, and this green would have been the ProArte real brush, and I think it's called green grey. Next up is an ice cream van. These are just children and their parents queuing up for ice cream outside my local park. This dark area under the van again is the ProArte green brush pen, and the green here would have been the dark phthalo green by Luminance. It is 719, and I love using the dark brown for the outline of each of the figure work, and that is Warm Earth by Luminance 748. I'll just do a little line here just underneath his foot. Before I forget, the blue in the sky would have been Caran d'Ache. I don't know which blue this is. I've just broken them up so that they are lighter to carry in my bag, but it means that I don't have to take out my watercolours if I'm doing something really quick like this. This guy is in my local coffee shop, and it's probably this brown Luminance again. It's the, oh no, this is the Warm Earth. Hold on, let me just check. Yeah, I think this is Warm Earth 748, and the green, jade green here is a Caran d'Ache Neo Colour 2, and I've repeated it in the tree, not the trees, the greenery, the pot plants, and this lady's top. I did use the same jade green Neo Colour in the trees and also in some of the clothes of these people who were having lunch in Soho Square, which is just off Tottenham Court Road. And the grey here would be this Pentel brush pen. I'll just show you a line here. And if you squeeze this, a bit more ink comes out, but I quite like it when it's running out, and it creates those sort of textures. And this slightly off red is the Ecoline marker, reddish brown. And I was actually in London that day to help out a client, so I wasn't carrying very much, and I literally, that's all I had on me that day. Before I forget, it was that gorgeous Warm Earth Luminance again, some of these figure work, and adding the extra shadow in this mock Tudor building. This was done on location in Docklands. Again, it's that grey brush pen, this boy here. I'm not entirely sure what it was, but it was very interesting to draw. And the building was some kind of customs house. I was doing a sketch walk and the guy in charge did tell me what it was, but I have forgotten, and I really wish I'd written it down, but that will teach me for next time. And that blue pencil is the Luminance Indrathrone Blue by Caran d'Ache 649, and I really like how it's able to get some sort of details in the windows there. I could have done it like that. Anyhow, next up, this was a local music festival called Stone Valley. I go every year because it's a sort of retro type bands if you're into early 80s pop, and they've had some other sort of mid 90s bands that I remember from my youth. Anyhow, this dark grey would have been the Curetake. Hold on, let me grab it. It would have been one of these real brush pens, and pops of red. I think, actually, no, it wasn't this one. I think it would have been this new one that I got, Rubine Red from Royal Talens. It's a panned tone colour. My favourite one is this guy in the stripy shirt. I don't think he had a red stripy shirt. I just want to show you. So it's got this nib, and it also has the chisel nib, and you don't need very much because it's literally sort of magenta. And again, you can see the textured background coming through. And I would have used, I don't know, is it the same? I just take this brown pen. I don't think it's that brown pencil, sorry. Looks like it was Carmine Lake, Caran d'Ache 575. This was also at the festival. This is my friend Michelle and her daughter Daisy. And this would have been a bit of a pencil outline. Probably was this one, I think. That's the Warm Earth, and I would have used watercolours. This is my watercolour set. This is my on-the-go one, and probably this brush. This is a new type of quill brush that I'm now using, and it is by, hold on, let's get rid of that. So you can see it's by ProArte, and it's got a lovely pointy point, which makes life so much easier. So this is kind of a mixed media piece. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this watercolour kit which I take out with me on location. I have 14 pans which I have filled with Winsor & Newton pigments, and I'm going to tell you which colours I am currently using. I do change them up fairly often, so these might not always stay the same. We have lemon yellow, cadmium orange, Winsor red, opera rose, permanent magenta, potter's pink, sap green, green gold, quin gold, burnt sienna, phthalo blue, indigo, Payne's grey, and also some white gouache to help with opacity. These are two other friends that were at the Stone Valley Festival, and that's Rachel and James, and she had a very, very expensive glass of Pimm's because we weren't allowed to take our own alcohol. I really, really enjoyed doing these. These were just characters that I saw around the music festival, and it was done in the brush pen, this Curetake one. I mean, it gives this lovely thin line, but also sort of expressive lines like that, and that's why I love carrying these brush pens around. And again, it would have been this Rubine red in some of the clothing here, and you can see the textured background quite well. Queue for coffee and donuts. I think the green used in this, probably, I've got a feeling it was the dark fallow. I'm just going to test it out. Yeah, I think it was by Caran d'Ache, and that is 719. And I just, stood there waiting for people to get the coffee and donuts, and there's the Portaloos in the background. And so you kind of get the sense that I only had a few, you know, materials with me, a few coloured pencils and brush pens. These are my two friends who came up to stay for a weekend of sketching, and she really was wearing a bright pink top, and I happened to have this neon tempera paint stick, and I didn't know she was going to be wearing that, but it was absolutely perfect. We met up in a local cafe, and I think the reddish brown coloured pencil I've used to sketch them out is the Cerulean Brown Caran d'Ache 585. This was done on location, you know, in about 5-10 minutes. This, I think, would have been the next day. We went out for breakfast, and I just sketched outside a bakery, and they had put some chairs out. So we managed to bag a table, and this brickwork is this Ecoline. It's deep ochre. And the coloured pencil, I think, would have been indigo. Let me grab. There we go. It's another Caran d'Ache one. It is 639 dark indigo. And some of the trees would have been neo colour. Yeah, it would have been that neo colour, and this kind of olive green would have been this Curetake. Yeah, and this does make appearance quite a lot. I'll show you in later versions. This is just more sketches of us having breakfast and other people who were at the tables nearby. Unfinished sketch. I don't know if I ran out of time. I think I just gave up. I am really trying to improve my perspective. This wasn't done on location. This is for something else, for an art retreat I was trying to promote. Now this was done a little bit later on, after we'd been to the bakery, and it is this watercolour. It is this brush pen. Yeah, and it would have been a darker brush pen, which I can't find. Oh no, I think this would have been it. So this is the green grey one. I think it's already made an appearance. Yeah, so I just layered that on top, and these are great for layering. Then we crossed the river, and we had a late lunch and some Pims. So this pen, was it this one? I think it was that one. And the rhodamine, sorry, not rhodamine, Rubine red. The mint slices, not mint slices, mint leaves, I think, was some of this neo colour. And this shadow would have been, oh, let me find it, just test that out. Yeah, I think it was this Caran d'Ache. It was light aubergine D95, or was it 095? I can't read it properly. Now this is the Millennium Bridge across the Thames. You can see a tiny part of the Globe Theatre, and all this would have been done using my watercolour set. Pretty quick. I think I wanted to see the Kandinsky exhibition at the Tate Modern. This was another exhibition I wanted to see, the British Museum. I am a frequent visitor to the British Museum after devoting an entire sketchbook project on it, which I will link to. We had 10 minutes until our allotted time slot to get into the Roman Legion exhibition. So me being me, I sat down. This is the Great Court, and it has the very iconic and famous roof by Foster's, and that was done with the Holbein Celadon, and this darker line work was the Sepia by Caran d'Ache 407. I really love this is my favourite line, because my friends were saying, hurry up, we got to get into the exhibition, and I just quickly put this in, and it's just so much firmer and definitive rather than these kind of sketchy lines. So I think time pressure kind of helps me make decisions better in my sketchbook. This was something else, so that wasn't done on location. Now this was inside the Roman Legion exhibition, and I think it would have been this Celadon. Hold on, let me just colour up his chin. Yeah, bearing in mind I would have just taken some coloured pencils, because British Museum don't allow any sort of wet media, and the darker blue would have been this Luminance Prussian Blue 159, and I was doing this actually, you know, in the middle of the exhibition, so I didn't really have time to sort of blend these colours in, and they look a bit rough and ready, but I was doing them in 5 minutes, so I'm going to give myself grace. This was a failed attempt at something, again, not on location, but these were from a recent trip to Spain. This one, I was in a queue about to board the plane at Luton Airport. I've written Luton Airport is crazy. I stand by that. I hate being there at 7 in the morning. However, I got this nice little sketch done. It's nice to be able to pick out just one colour, and this lady really was wearing this geometric orange top, and that tied in with the orange branding of EasyJet. And the pen that I used is this Kuretake. I couldn't tell you what it's called, but it does lovely fine lines like that. So that would have been really fast. We were literally about to board the flight. This is in Malaga, and this was a warm-up piece. I met up with some urban sketchers in Malaga, and they took me around parts of Malaga and sketched together. This peachy colour is this Ecoline apricot, and I used, remember I said I'm trying to be more definite with my lines, and so I picked out just this central area, this church, I can't remember what it's called, but it was the Sepia pencil by Caran d'Ache 407, and just to give a sense of scale, there's some people down here. This would have been the next day. This was my breakfast. It was a bagel, and it was the same apricot Ecoline marker, which I used in the coffee and the salmon, and this green, where is it? Found it. It was the Ecoline brush pen, and it is grass green. So you've got the different strands of the stems, rather, of the spinach, and also the main line would have been created, I think, with sepia. Oh, maybe it wasn't sepia. It's something a little bit warmer. I think it was Carmine Lake 575. Hold on, let me turn this around. I talked a little bit previously about my two friends that came over, and one of them had trained as an interior designer, and she said, oh, let's do some time studies of, it was a building just near the cafe where we met up, just using toned pens. So I had this cool grey and the zig, and so I did a 1 minute study, 3 minute study, and a 5 minute study, and always good to do studies. This is now going to go backwards. And then we went across the river, and again we did some more timed studies, and I think they would have been like something like 5 minutes and 10 minutes, and it was these two Zig clean colour brush pens, olive green and green grey, and I think I was really pleased I was able to get quite a level of detail in that without getting overly precious. So let's turn this around again. Now this is back in Spain. This was in the garden of where I was teaching at an art retreat with Sam Dion Baker, quite early in the morning, maybe about 7:30, so the colours are quite luminous because the sun was just rising. There were a whole sort of range of mountains and hills, and I just used a whole load of greens and maybe some green gold here, just watercolour, and this was done maybe in about half an hour. And this was done maybe the next day towards dusk, and the colours on the side of the hill were getting quite dark, so I put down the watercolour first, and then I went in with some coloured pencils. It's probably this one, yeah. This is one of my favourites. It's Androthrone Pink 571. And some of the brown here, I think, would have been, let me just test that out. Yeah, looks like it was the Warm Earth. And I think the green, bits of the green here, would have been dark phthalo green. Let me just test that. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Oh, and there's this one here. Let me find that. I think it was this Holbein coloured pencil in olive green. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Yeah, I think I put it in the background here as well. And the last page is a view from the terrace. So this was facing towards the mountain, and this was facing the other way, where you could see more of a vista and the distant hills. So it was done in watercolour first, very much like the same methodology as the previous version, and we have pink. This was again getting towards dusk, so I really could see sort of pinks and purples in the background. And looks like I've used some of the brush pen, the Kuretake brush pen, just to pick out some of the leaves, and these distant sort of tree line would have been the phthalo green. So I typically always carry the smaller Hahnemuhle watercolour sketchbook in A5, finished that one, and I started on this one whilst I was in Spain. And it's mainly watercolour, and the reason I switch between dry media and wet media is mainly how fast is it going to dry, and it was pretty hot out there, so this watercolour was drying pretty fast. This was a perspective study, not the best, must try better. I think, and again it was just a coloured pencil, probably that one, and the Ecoline marker, and I would have carried them all in this Uniqlo shoulder bag, and we stopped for coffee, and I think that black pen would have been the Kuretake. And this is just watercolour. This was very early in the morning. I went for a swim and then created that. These weren't sketches as such. And again, this is just watercolour. And this was done on location at a wine tasting and tapas. And it was just coloured pencil, and I think this one I haven't introduced yet. This was the Burnt Ochre 50% by Karen Dash, and that's for the hams hanging up in the background. I really don't want you to think that I am carting all this stuff around in my little shoulder bag, because that is not possible. I like to travel pretty light, and this really is what I carry around in average when I'm out and about. A few coloured pencils, brush pens, watercolour set, a small version bulldog clip collapsible water container, my quill brush, and my little sketchbook, and that's all I need. So if I'm stopping for a coffee, I just whip out my sketchbook, do a little contour drawing of people at the cafe, and that's enough for me. I'm really happy with this little spread. Sketchbooks are a really special part of my daily life, and they help me to capture little moments like having drinks at a pub or a cafe and meeting up with friends. My sketchbooks are always there with me, and I only need a few coloured pencils to be happy. It's really about connecting with what I see in front of me. You can carry loads of art supplies, but I'm letting you know you don't need loads of art supplies to make great sketches. Just stay curious and pay attention to your surroundings. Each sketch becomes a memory and a piece of my daily art that I can look back on. So keep it simple and let your sketchbook help you see the beauty in everyday moments. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. I'd love to hear from you, so leave a comment below and let me know if you sketch on location. See you next time.